Welcome back. This is show number 657. My name is Steve Bunce. This is the Bunce Hour on Box Nation. And we love an anniversary on this show. Trust me, we wanted to get a cake in with all of those candles on. But it turned out it was a fire hazard. So we'll settle for a slightly, well, actually a much better anniversary. 20 years ago tomorrow, this man won the WBO featherweight title. What a night it was up at the Ali Pally.
Yes, McMillan's got
it. That was Colin McMillan at his peak, and we've got a bit of disco music there because sadly today we lost Robin Gibb, one of the Gibb family, but also, and I know this and I'm not joking, he was a big boxing fan. Now there's only one place to start tonight. OK, I'd like to have been in Luxembourg because there was a few things happening over there today, but we're not going to start in Luxembourg. There's only one place to start, and it's with a young man who about a week ago was just coming down with the flu, and he got a phone call very late to ask him to step in at late notice and challenge for the British Light-Welterweight title. The champion was Ashley Theophane. He was looking for an opponent. And everybody involved with the show thought they'd found one. They thought they'd found one that satisfied and ticked a few boxes, but at the same time, let's not mince our words, wouldn't risk taking that title. Wouldn't risk actually winning. Let's not mess around. That's the bottom line. That guy was Darren Hamilton, OK? He had the flu. He'd only fought 20-odd days earlier. But you know what? He's a fitness freak. And he was right for the fight. And he drank loads of liquids. And he travelled up to Liverpool. And he pulled off a massive shock on the David Price undercard last Saturday up at Aintree in the Canteen at Aintree, which is not really a great venue, to be honest with you. It's a lovely venue, I'm sure, but it doesn't sound great. The Canteen at Aintree is not where you win the British title. No disrespect, but hey, I would just say Liverpool from now on. Anyway, this guy, Darren Hamilton, got on a train, went up there, got on a ring with Theophane and won, and he's got the belt to prove it. Now, he's already a star because he's won the British Light-Welterweight title. And tonight I wanted to have him live, but I couldn't have him live because he's had an invite from the Klitschko brothers to go to the premiere of their film in the West End. So I had to get him in earlier. And I started by asking him, I couldn't resist. He was so happy. I started by asking him, he was hugging the belt like this. I started by asking him, did he plan on keeping the belt, well, a little bit longer at least?
Yeah, I sure do.
Hold it up. Oh, there's the belt. That looks good. Now, put the belt down and relax a little bit. Darren, you took this fight at what, 5-6 days' notice?
5 days' notice, yeah.
But you'd been poorly, hadn't you? That's not an invention. Yeah. You had been in bed with flu.
Not on the day that I got the call up at the beginning of a flu. Then the next day it was, it got worse, and I tried to take Beecham, which is not the correct thing to do. Yeah. Makes your body feel really weak. And but the day before the fight, on the day of the weigh-in, I was absolutely sick, completely sick.
Because I'll be honest with you, you look now, you look drained now, you look like you had the flu now.
Yeah. I've still got something, I've still got mucus on the chest, and I've still got a bit of a runny nose.
Because you boxed, what, about 20 days earlier or something when you got the call up? 27?
Yeah. I think, it would have worked out of 19 days before that I had a fight. Same place again, Liverpool, but it was at the Echo Arena against John Watson. I boxed an 8-rounder.
So when the fight came up, I mean, was it something you instantly jumped at, or did you sort of sense that you were coming down with something and have to think about it, or did you say, I've got to grab it, it's my opportunity?
I just didn't think about how I was feeling. I just said, yeah, I've got to grab it. Just got to grab it. I just know there was no other way this thing's going to happen. There's no way you're going to get this without just grabbing your opportunity.
Because you could have found yourself on the outside for a year or more, 3 or 4 fights, couldn't you? Being absolutely honest.
Yeah.
So you grabbed it. Actually, let's not mince our words. He looked at Adil Anwar. He looked at you, and he took you because he thought you were the easy option, didn't he?
Easy
I mean,
option,
you're big enough. You understand that?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Now, when you got in the ring with him, did you sort of sense that? Did you get an idea that he realised he'd made a mistake, or was it just too late? Or you just fought your fight?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I thought that from before, you know, at the weigh-in. I thought, yeah, you've definitely made a mistake, mate.
Could you tell from looking at him? Could you tell?
So I always go by the feeling. I always go by the feeling. My little secret is I go up to people before the weigh-in and I shake hands and I see how I feel. And then from then I just say,
sense it from their eyes and everything.
You're definitely misjudging this one, mate. You think this is going to be a walk in the park.
And you could sense that.
I could sense that. And the same with the John Watson fight again.
Yeah.
You know,
which was a hard fight on paper.
Hard fight, yeah. Hard fight on paper, yeah. Again, you know, I was drafted in as the opponent. You know, come here. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you know, it's like we're here to make numbers. But, the only time we make numbers is when we go to the bank. So that's our Spencer Fearon special thing.
That's the absolute
Spencer Fearon special thing. Yeah.
We had to, by the way, we had to ban Spencer tonight because if Spencer had come in, we wouldn't have heard from me and we wouldn't have heard from Darren. So we banned him. We've actually locked him out of the studio. The security here not letting him in. He's outside knocking on the door now like a nutcase, but we won't let him in. Now let me ask you this, Darren. Once the first bell sounded, okay, now you're shaking the flu. You're in the middle of the flu, really, but things were just falling into place. Was it? You know, and did you know early on, this is my fight, I've got this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just from there, because it's quite clear points win in the end.
It was. I mean, to be fair, with all fairness, I thought I won a lot more rounds than what Jim Watt said and what you know, which the scorecard said.
Well, that's what happens when you're the opponent.
Yeah, when you're the opponent. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So constantly from the first round, I thought to myself, because the first thing I thought to myself, you know, this guy's been training over with Floyd Mayweather and stuff like that. But and
spent a lot of time in America and sparred and fought some good guys.
But that could work against you, see.
Yeah, of course it can.
Because then you could be in the clouds thinking, okay, I'm this Mayweather thing, and you know what I mean, and you know I'm in America and stuff like that, and you know, and you could then sort of, you know.
Darren, you are so right, mate.
Yeah,
I tell you what, sometimes you can live in the clouds when you're exposed to that.
You can live in the clouds, and I thought with no disrespect to him, I felt that that's what he fell into when in the first round he started doing all this stop flash stuff. I said to myself, so I let him do what he was doing, and I stood in the middle of the ring and said, you know, I'm not going to chase you. So you could do that all night. So you had to come in the middle of the ring and fight. So all that stuff was
just out the window.
Out the window, most definitely.
So when you should have been at home having some hot cocoa and feeling better, you're actually going into the championship last 3 or 4 rounds and rolling on.
That's it.
That's going stuff.
That's it.
Now you started your career in 2006 down in Bristol because you're originally from Bristol, aren't you?
I'm from Bristol, yeah.
And you had a few fights. Then you had a couple of years out. You had some, you had some stuff that you sorted out yourself.
Yeah.
And then you came back about 2010. Was that when you arrived in London then?
That's when I arrived in London.
Is that when you were spending the time at Rooney's gym?
That's it. Correct. Yeah.
Now that was, I mean, there's no way of getting around it. I've got to get straight to it. That was a low point, really, wasn't it, in your life, that period there?
A very low point in my life, yeah, very low point. It was around about the time, I think, you know, recession hit. I kind of like was trying to figure out what to do with my life. To be honest, I give up on boxing. I said, no, you know, boxing's not for me. £500 a fight I was making, £800 a fight. 25% to manager and stuff.
So nothing.
It was just like, do you know what I mean? I said, this is not, you know, and I'm only fighting every other like 3 months, 2 months. It's not enough. I've got to give boxing up.
This is during that first part of your career, 2006, 2007.
So I had a personal trainer's qualification level 3, but I got it. I done it through a firm that done it with through the government, where you get it. But what you have to do is you have to find a gym that would help you do it there for free.
Was that the Real Fight Club? Did you end up at a Real Fight Club?
No, that was at Rooney's.
Rooney's gym itself, yeah.
Yeah, but as a boxer, I sparred there when I was living in Bristol. So that was the only place where I knew that would take me on at the time.
So you came to London almost like Dick Whittington. After a few personal issues, you arrived in London literally with your gum shield only.
Yeah, literally.
And a sleeping bag.
And a sleeping bag. I had nowhere to go at the time. And then I went there and I said to him, you know, please, you know, is it possible that if I could start working there? And he said, you know, look, I got work here. You could work here, but you know, if you want to work here, he said in a very strong Irish accent, if you want to work here, you gotta sign a contract, a 3-year contract. I thought, here we go again. And I had nowhere else to go. I tried everywhere. I said, you know, what the hell with it? Go on in. And I just done it, and then. And then from then on, that was it. And then it's never looked back from then. I hooked up with Ben Doughty.
Yeah.
Ben Doughty was my trainer at the time, and things went wrong for John at the time. Well, things were going wrong at the gym with me and John, and I had to leave. Obviously, by then I thought to myself, I'm actually enjoying this boxing thing. I sparred with the likes of Ben Murphy and Eric Ocheng, quality boxers, and I sparred with Anthony Small, who was British champion at the time. Yeah. Gave me a boost, made me think to myself, wow, I could do this.
I can compete with guys at this level.
At this level, so I might as well give it a go. And then I said to myself, I don't want to give this up, and I didn't have a job, so he then introduced me to Spencer Fearon, who was at the Royal Fight Club at the time.
Yeah, and that's how you made the switch over to that?
That's when I made the switch over to
And then that ended up about 10 days ago or whatever, 8 days ago, you getting the phone call to step in and fight for the British title.
That's it. That's it.
And didn't regret it at all. So you're still training, you're still doing personal training now?
Yeah, I do less, obviously a lot less.
Obviously less.
A lot less, but yeah, that's that's how I've been supporting myself outside of the ring, doing the personal training.
Well, listen, it's been an absolute delight having you in. I know you're off this evening to see the Klitschko brothers. Just before we go, how can people find you if they want to be trained by a British champion? Have you got a website, or is there
I'm in the process of making a website at the moment.
Okay, what about Twitter? You got a Twitter address?
Not at the moment. No, I've got on Facebook at the moment.
Well, listen, if you want to get hold of Darren, you can come via me here. Get hold of me. That's at Big Daddy Bunce, and I'll put you in touch with him if you're in the London area and you want to have some personal training from a live and an active British champion, British Light-Welterweight champion, Darren Hamilton. Thanks very much for your time tonight. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Cheers.